The prisoner you are watching is called Ricky, but Ricky was not an ordinary prisoner. He was such a prisoner who could not be kept in any jail in the world, because he had a strange kind of power inside him. So, whether he was kept in a secure jail in any corner of the world or buried under the ground, he would still come out of there. Breaking any jail in the world was not a big deal for him. But what happened to him? And why was he kept in all these jails? This is what we will see in the story of today's movie. So, let's take a tour of the life of a dangerous prisoner. The story begins in a city in Japan, where we see a prison van. And through this prison van, prisoners are taken to jail. So this time, this prison van goes straight to a jail in Japan, which was one of the most dangerous jails in Japan, because the scariest prisoners of Japan lived here. Today, some new prisoners were brought here from that prison van, including a young prisoner named Ricky. But now he was sentenced to 10 years, because a few days ago, he had killed a man mercilessly. But why did he do that? We will find out later. However, he was still young, so his sentence was reduced to 10 years. Then Ricky was taken to a metal detector and checked whether he had anything or not. But the device repeatedly showed that there was metal in his body. The police searched for him for a long time, but found nothing. This made everyone suspect that Ricky had hidden a weapon in his body. So to check him better, he was put in the special X-ray machine there. Then when his entire body was checked, it was found that there were many bullets stuck in different parts of his body, and the same bullets were actually being detected in the machine. Seeing this, the police officers there were quite surprised that how can a person live with so many bullets in his body. Meanwhile, the two officers there tell Ricky that they will call a doctor here and remove all the bullets from his body. But Ricky then tells them that there is no need for all this. He is absolutely fine. Bullets are like medicine for his body. All this does not mean anything to him. The officers are surprised to hear this. After this, all the new prisoners are taken inside a cell. Now let's look at this entire jail. This entire jail was divided into about 4 parts. And on these 4 parts, 4 different prisoners ruled. These 4 prisoners were collectively called the Gang of 4. These people were leaders of very big gangs. And they also had the permission of the jail warden. That is, even if they did anything wrong here, the warden would not say anything to them, because they were all very big mafias. And in the jail, so that they could run their kingdom, they had arranged to give money to the warden from the outside. Then the next day, when all the prisoners were busy with their own work, a prisoner from the north section comes there, who was the right hand of the governor of that section. That is, his closest man. His name was Sam. So Sam and his companions together kill an old prisoner named Mike for no reason. But Mike was not able to understand why those people were beating him like this. Mike was always very worried anyway, because he missed his wife and child a lot. He had left his child very small and came to this jail. He was now waiting for his punishment to be completed. And when will he go to his wife and child? And in a few days, his punishment was about to end. That's why he was very excited. He had made a small toy for his child from some things in the jail. But when that toy fell from his hand, Sam picked it up. Then Sam says to Mike, "You want to get out of this jail soon, right? But do you know that you will only be able to get out when I want?" Mike wanted to take that toy back, but Sam hurt him with that toy and broke the toy. After this, he goes near him and says, "Without my permission, no one can ever get out of the jail of the north section. So much so that no one can appeal to go out." But Mike then opposes it and says that what they are doing is injustice. But after hearing this, Sam gets very angry. And then he starts beating Mike with his men. They beat Mike so much that his whole face becomes bloody. But just at the same time, Ricky reaches there after hearing Mike scream. And he attacks Sam from behind, which causes Sam to fall directly on an iron thorn on the star cutter. He is seriously injured in this. He is so injured that there is no strength left to fight him. After this, Sam's own man comes to attack Ricky. But the way Ricky looks at him, he can't even raise his hand on him out of fear. In fact, he takes his leader Sam and runs away from there. After this, it is shown that Sam's face had deteriorated very badly. That's why he was getting very angry at Ricky. He tells his companions that his next target is Ricky. He will punish him like hell and chop him into pieces. so you go to Mike and tell him that his release date has been extended far ahead. In greed for money, the guard agrees with him, and then he goes straight to Mike and tells him that his release tomorrow has been cancelled. He will have to spend many more days in this jail, but Mike gets very scared, because he had already become his enemy with Sam. Now if he stays in jail, Sam will torture him a lot. So Mike gets very angry at the guard, and he says to the guard, "My request was rejected." It was enough to say this, but when I was given the release date from the government, how did it suddenly get cancelled? Surely you are behind this. Then the guard attacks his body to silence him. Mike has a lot of trouble with this, because anyway, his heart was very restless to meet his wife and child, so he repeatedly requests the crying guard to release him, but the guard does not listen to him. Instead, he beats him and leaves, his enemy with Sam, because he knew that until Sam does not want, he will never be able to get out of this jail, and if he had to stay here, he would have to die every day. That's why Mike gives up his life that night, and this news spreads throughout the jail. All the prisoners start opposing Mike, because the most injustice in this jail was with Mike, and Mike was also punished for no reason. Actually, when Mike's wife started wearing a delivery pen, Mike was taking her to the hospital in his car. Then suddenly a car comes and bumps into his car, in which Mike was not at fault. But in that accident, a passenger died. For this reason, he was sentenced to many years in prison. Even after his sentence was completed, he was not released from jail. It is seen there that the guard was taking Mike's dead body out of jail. Ricky sees that there is still a handcuff on both hands of Mike. He feels very bad to see this. He goes to the guards present there and says, "Are you humans? Don't you have anything called humanity inside you? The man died after enduring so much pain, and you are handcuffed in the hands of this dead man." Saying this, Ricky breaks the handcuffs very easily with his hands. Seeing this, the guards are completely surprised that how did he break such a strong handcuff so easily? Then Ricky puts the toy on Mike's body, which Mike had made for his child with his own hands, but Sam had broken it. Ricky fixes that toy and puts it next to Mike so that his soul can get some peace. But Ricky was very sad for Mike, and he was also very angry at Sam. Because of Sam and his companions, Mike's condition was like this today. Then the next morning, all the prisoners go to the washroom to take a bath. Ricky was also present there. Meanwhile, Sam comes to Ricky and looks at him with very strange eyes. After a while, when all the prisoners go out of there, then that prisoner comes there whose name was Long, who was kept tied in that jail. Long was actually a very tall man, and he was also very strong, so he was always tied up. That's why Sam told the guard to let him go so that he could get Ricky beaten through him. Then Long comes and hits Ricky so hard that Ricky splashes and falls very far. But Ricky was also very brave and strong, so he also starts fighting with him. Ricky hits such a punch in Long's stomach that his hand goes straight into his stomach. This causes Long's death there. Actually, Ricky had a strange kind of poison in his body that is not in the body of an ordinary person. Meanwhile, Sam brings an iron wire cutter, a steel cutter to kill Ricky, and puts it directly in Ricky's hand. But even after all this, nothing happens to Ricky. Rather, Ricky very easily removes that wire cutter and puts it in Sam's hand and breaks his hand. On the other hand, the guards were standing there and watching their fight, but they were not doing anything because Sam had given them money. But this time, Ricky also hit Sam so hard like Long that his stomach bursts and he dies there. The guards understand how dangerous Ricky is and how powerful his body is, so they catch him and take him away. Meanwhile, a prisoner named Leo comes there, who was the governor of the north section of the jail at the time. He comes to Ricky and says, "I have seen very few powerful prisoners like you." But Leo's words have no effect on Ricky. After this, the guards take him to a special kind of cell which was made for special prisoners. There, the guards imprison him and leave him. But after a while, a strange kind of pain begins in Ricky's chest, and then he remembers an incident of his past. When Ricky was a high school student, his parents died. So one day Ricky comes to his village to go to his parents' grave, and in the same graveyard, he meets a man named John. Ricky finds out that John is no one else but his own uncle. John and Ricky were meeting each other for the first time today. However, John had heard a lot about Ricky before his brother. He had heard that Ricky is learning martial arts, so he comes here and asks Ricky about his martial arts. Ricky then begins to show him his skill, but his uncle John immediately stops him and attacks him once, because he understood that Ricky still has a lot of weaknesses. It will take him a long time to learn martial arts completely. John himself was a martial arts master. But even after all this, so Ricky begs him a lot to teach him martial arts completely because his parents were no longer in this world. So he had to make himself very strong at any cost, otherwise it would be very difficult for him to survive in this world. Hearing Ricky's words, his uncle John agrees to teach him martial arts. He starts training him from that day and takes him to the cemetery at night for training. He tells Ricky that the biggest weapon of martial arts is to control your mind and to balance the anger hidden inside you. That's why John starts teaching him meditation first. And he tells Ricky that meditation is the biggest weapon to control yourself. It awakens the real peace of the human mind. In fact, it also teaches a person to be patient, because of which, in the future, a person does not suffer any injury or pain. Rather, it awakens the desire to put more energy and hard work in the human body. This is the reason why a person can work hard for martial arts later. So after many days of training, John brings a stone for Ricky. He breaks a piece of that stone with one hand. After that, he tells Ricky that gather all the strength in your body at one place and break this stone and show it. Ricky gets very inspired by what John says. That's why he comes in front of the stone and attacks that stone with all the strength of his body, and he really breaks the stone. Ricky himself is surprised to see this. After this, John continuously throws stones at Ricky one after the other, and Ricky also breaks every stone and crushes it. Then John brings a very big stone and throws it at Ricky, but Ricky also crushes that stone with the strength of his chest muscles. John is very happy to see all this, because Ricky had achieved infinite power in a very short time. Now the story comes back to the present time where Ricky was quietly sitting in his cell and meditating according to John's instructions. But then some guards come and take him to an officer who was the deputy director of this entire jail. His name was Martin. Actually, he was a very bad person. He never cared about right and wrong by gaining the power of his position. Even like the other guards, he was also sold for money. So Martin tells a guard to read Ricky's entire file and tell him, because the prisoner who has committed such a big incident in jail, he should know a little about his past. The guard then starts reading Ricky's file and telling him. He says that Ricky was an orphan since childhood. That's why he grew up in an orphanage. But he was not good at studying, so he was expelled from the general school and admitted to a music school. But later he disappeared from there for 2 years. He could not be found anywhere. But suddenly he had a fight with a very big gang, and in that fight, he killed one of them. After that, he was arrested from there and brought to this jail. After hearing all this, Martin again comes to Ricky and strangles him. He wants to ask him where he was during the time he was missing for about 2 years, and he has 5 bullets in his chest. How did these 5 bullets get into his body? And even after being shot, how is he still alive? But he does not answer any of his questions. However, Ricky notices one thing here, that Martin does not have a hand, and instead of him, there is something like a weapon in his hand. Then Martin says to Ricky, "You do not want to tell me anything. So what happened in this? Do not forget that you are still in my jail, so it will not take me much time to get the truth out of you." After this, Martin takes a photo from there, and says that this morning he got a picture of Ricky. He wants Ricky to see that picture. As soon as Ricky raises his hand to see the picture, Martin attacks Ricky with the weapon in his hand. So much so that he keeps attacking his face again and again. And then he says to Ricky, "I want to see the power of that person who killed powerful people like Sam and Long." Saying this, he kills Ricky so much that his whole body is stained with blood. But Ricky spits on his face instead of being afraid. Seeing this, Martin gets even more angry and says that Ricky has made a very big mistake. He has no idea in which jail he has reached. This is not a jail, but a hell. And Ricky will have to suffer the punishment of this hell. He swears that he will kill Ricky with his own hands. After this, Martin shows Ricky the same picture that he wanted to show before. In that picture, there was actually a photo of Ricky's girlfriend. Martin was threatening Ricky about his girlfriend. Hearing this, Ricky gets very angry and breaks the table kept there in one blow. Then Martin starts shooting at him, but Ricky somehow manages to escape the bullets by making a shield over there. Then when the guards come to stop him, Ricky also beats them badly. Seeing this, Martin gets scared, and he says, "If you have even thought that you can kill me, then remember that you will have to die with my own hands." Then Ricky comes running fast and is about to hit him hard. But at the last moment, he stops and says, "If I wanted, I could have killed you right here. I have already committed many such murders, so killing you does not change anything for me. But this time I am leaving you. But next time don't try to interfere in my personal life." Saying this, Ricky picks up his girlfriend's photo and leaves from there. Then that same night, Ricky is looking at that picture. He also had a flute with him. Ricky starts playing the flute sitting there, and only then he remembers the things of his past, when he used to spend very beautiful moments with his girlfriend. Ricky's girlfriend's name was Jan. Both loved each other very much. The most beautiful moments of Ricky's life were spent with her. So at that time, Ricky was remembering all the lovely memories of his girlfriend. He became very emotional. But then a guard came there and stopped Ricky from playing the flute. The next morning it is shown that when Sam's one companion was roaming in jail, Then many prisoners come to him. These were the same prisoners who Sam always bothered with his people, and he used to torture them a lot. But now that Sam was dead, all the prisoners wanted to take revenge on him. In their eyes, because of him, a good person like Mike had to lose his life. There was a person named Koa who wanted to kill him. But at the same time, Leo comes there, who was made the governor of the North Section. Leo tells Koa that he should not kill anyone in anger, otherwise his punishment will increase even more. So much so that maybe he will never be able to get out of jail. And then Leo reminds him that everyone knows the rules of jail. He is the only one who has the right to kill any prisoner here. So he forgets all the previous complaints. But at that time, Koa says, "What is the use of your power if you can't even do justice in your section in jail? When injustice was happening to us, where were you? Why was this power given to a useless person like you? I don't understand this." Hearing this, Leo gets very angry and kills Koa there. At the same time, Martin arrives there and congratulates Leo, saying that he has done the right thing. Then Martin himself takes Koa's body from there. After that, on the same day, Martin calls Leo to his office and holds a weapon in his hand and says that Leo is a very brave prisoner. That's why he has been given such a big position in jail. But now he has to do this. Just like he killed Koa, he will have to kill Ricky too. Hearing this, Leo is very scared because he knows that Ricky is a very dangerous fighter and it is not at all easy to kill him. Still, Leo gets ready to fight him. After this, it is shown that Koa's dead body is hanging in the jail ground and Ricky is quietly standing there and looking at that body. That's when Leo comes to fight him. Ricky is also ready for the fight. Leo repeatedly tries to attack him in different ways, but Ricky easily saves himself from him every time. Although Leo was very powerful, he finally manages to hurt Ricky. But there were a lot of prisoners behind the jail who were appreciating Ricky a lot because there was only one person who could punish all the prisoners of this jail. Hearing everyone's words, Ricky gets a lot of courage in his heart and the fire of revenge rages inside him. Ricky then goes out to fight Leo with all his strength. Ricky's body was so powerful that even a powerful person like Leo could not stand in front of him. That's why Leo threw dust in Ricky's eyes, which stopped Ricky from seeing anything clearly. Still, he kept trying to fight. But that's when Leo brings a heavy weapon from there and takes the opportunity to attack Ricky. Ricky falls on the water tank pipe behind him. He breaks the pipe by striking hard with his axe. Water starts coming out of the pipe quickly and Ricky immediately washes his eyes with that water. Now his eyes are clear again and he is ready for the fight again. Seeing this, all the prisoners present there are very happy and shout loudly at Ricky to encourage him. They all tell Ricky to teach Leo a good lesson. There, Leo comes to attack Ricky again with his heavy weapon. But this time Ricky attacks in such a way that Leo's one eye comes out. That's when Martin comes there and sees this whole scene and gets scared badly. Leo realizes that Ricky will now kill him like the rest. That's why he decides that it's better to take his own life, but as soon as he is about to kill himself, Ricky comes in front of him and Leo suddenly attacks him. This was actually his trap, but this time Ricky hits his head so hard that his brain bursts out and he dies there. After this, Ricky drops Kwan's body there. That's when all the prisoners reach there. They think for a moment that Kwan may still be alive. But unfortunately, Kwan had died a long time ago. Ricky was now very angry with Martin. That's why he shouts loudly and tells all the prisoners that Martin is responsible for all the injustice in this jail. Because of this, people like Leo get the courage to do wrong things and turn the lives of innocent prisoners into hell. Hearing this, all the prisoners run towards Martin and shout in anger that you have done a lot of injustice and torture with us. Now we are not afraid of you because now Ricky is there for us. But then suddenly a prisoner comes out of a secret place there. Actually, he was a member of that dangerous gang called 4 Gang in which there were 4 people. His name was Takimoto. He had a special kind of skill. He could easily move from one place to another. Also, he had a lot of strength in his body. As soon as Takimoto comes, he kills many prisoners in a very scary and horrific way so that the rest of the prisoners move back. Now 3 of the 4 gang members were alive. Then Martin introduces them to Ricky. From the western section, Takimoto, from the eastern section, Time, and from the southern section, Rex. These 3 were the super duper fighters. Martin then says to Ricky, "You think you are very powerful, right? In front of these people, your strength is nothing. I will consider you a real fighter only when you defeat these 3. The prisoner then shouts loudly and says to Ricky, "Don't be afraid at all. We will all defeat these 3 together." No matter what happens, we then move forward with Ricky to fight the rest of the prisoners. But Ricky didn't want any more trouble this time. So he then picks up Kwan's body on his shoulder and leaves. But then Martin gives him an offer. He says that Ricky should become the governor of the North Section, that is, take Leo's position there. Because the position of the north section of the jail is still vacant and there is no other powerful prisoner like Ricky who can fulfill this responsibility. But Ricky leaves quietly without saying anything. Meanwhile, a prisoner is watching Ricky from a distance, whose name was Alan, and this Alan was actually Leo's son. Ricky had killed Leo, so after his father's death, Alan was very lonely. So that day Ricky comes to Alan. Ricky shows him a leaf and says, "Do you know how beautifully a flute can be played with this leaf?" Alan was a little naive, so Ricky was trying to relieve his tension and cheer him up. But then Alan tells him that he has no tongue, so he doesn't know how to play the flute. Actually, Martin had cut his tongue, because Martin wanted to hide a big secret from everyone. Hearing this, Ricky is very surprised that Martin is such a despicable person. Ricky gives Alan a flute this time and says that he doesn't need his tongue to play the flute. He can play it whenever he wants and cheer up. Because whenever Ricky gets upset, he also plays the flute and makes himself feel good. After getting this flute, Alan is very happy and happily gives Ricky some cards so that he can play the flute with those cards. Because he had already given his flute to Alan. But as soon as Ricky sees those cards, he is surprised. Then he asks Alan where he got these cards from. Alan tells him that he got them from the western section. Actually, those cards were a kind of drugs that were being grown secretly in the jail. And maybe the prisoners were secretly taking drugs like this. It is shown there that Ricky and Alan were secretly watching Takimoto because he was the governor of the western section. That is, he was also behind this drug. Takimoto then goes to the governors of the east and southern sections whose names were Rex and Tyne. He tells them that Ricky has found out everything about the drug farming in the jail and all these things have been told to Ricky by Alan. Then Takimoto calls Alan to him and says that first he will kill Ricky and then he will kill Alan too. But Alan refuses to do this with Ricky. On this, Takimoto gets angry and kills Alan there. Then they leave Alan's dead body in the jail so that the rest of the prisoners get scared seeing his condition. And then, seeing that crowd, Ricky also reaches there. He sees that Alan's dead body is lying there and the dagger given to him by the dead body is also kept there. Ricky then goes to him and takes the dagger in his hand and becomes very emotional. Then, shouting in anger and sorrow, he breaks the same dagger. On the other hand, Martin finds out that Ricky has found out everything about the drug kingdom of the jail, so he gets very angry. There, Ricky reaches the western section in anger and burns all the plants of drugs because the death of Alan happened, but then Takimoto comes there and sees that Ricky has burnt all the plants of his drugs. Seeing this, he gets very angry. But before that, Ricky says that you have killed Alan, so now you will also have to die at my hands. But Takimoto replies that Ricky will have to die at his hands. Then there is a fight between the two and Takimoto starts killing him. Takimoto knew Japanese traditional kung fu, so he had a different power to fight inside him. He gathers all his strength at one place and comes to full speed and hits Ricky hard, which makes Ricky go straight and hit the wall. On the other hand, Ricky's fire had reached directly to the gate of the jail and the gate had become very weak due to burning in the fire for a long time. So the prisoners wanted to take advantage of that opportunity because now if they wanted, they could run away from there. But Martin finds out this and he immediately sends a guard there so that he can stop the prisoners. But now the biggest problem for Martin was that the prison director of the jail had returned from his vacation. But the whole jail had now turned into a mess. If the prison director had known all this, Martin would have been in a bad condition. So Martin gives zero-alarm warning to all the guards so that the jail environment is quickly calmed down. On the other hand, Ricky was sitting there injured from his wounds. At the same time, he remembers his Uncle John's words where John had said that when you are going to lose in front of your enemy, show that you have given up. This will make your enemy lose and in the meantime, you will be able to gather all your strength and start fighting again. Ricky does the same and gathers all the strength of his body together. But then Rex comes there. Rex had a strange power of rope control, so he wraps a rope around Ricky's neck and tightens it and says, "I will not kill Ricky until I fight him directly." But then suddenly the alarm goes off and all the prisoners are told by the microphone to return to their cells within a minute or they will be shot. But Tyne was not ready to accept this warning. He wanted to fight Ricky and kill him with his own hands. But Takimoto refuses him because if he did not obey the warning, everyone could have been in big trouble. That's when the shooting begins and all the prisoners run away from there. But Tyne takes Ricky with him and takes him inside a cell. Here Martin takes advantage of this opportunity and opens both the doors of the cell, from which liquid cement starts coming out from both sides. Actually, Martin wanted to kill Ricky before the director came at any cost. Even if Tyne had died because of this, Martin did not care. So Ricky and Tyne both get stuck in the cement cell. But since Ricky was very powerful, he immediately breaks the iron door there and also saves Tyne and takes him out. But when Martin sees this, he realizes that Ricky is actually a very kind person. But Martin did not care about it because he did not value human lives. Here Tyne's body had become very heavy because a lot of cement had stuck to it, and the cement on Ricky's body had also tightened him up. Because of this pressure, a lot of weight falls on Ricky's chest and he falls unconscious there. Then Martin orders the guards to arrest Ricky. The next morning, the jail warden comes to visit the jail. Along with him, his spoiled son Boone was also there. Actually, all the illegal and illegal activities that used to happen in this jail, the same warden was at the root of them. So Martin tells the warden that a prisoner named Ricky was burned. Hearing this, the warden gets very angry. Martin then takes him to show Ricky. There it is shown that Ricky has been tied up in a cell and his whole body was covered with cement. But in a little while, Ricky shakes all the cement from his body and easily opens the ropes of his hand. After this, when he comes to attack the warden, suddenly he breaks the wall of the cell and Tyne comes there. Tyne then uses the iron of the jail and starts beating Ricky. Ricky had saved him before, but he did not appreciate it at all. Here, Ricky was not able to leave himself in any way. Then Tyne tries to break him by pressing his head. But at the same time, Ricky somehow releases himself and beats Tyne so much that his face bursts in one punch and he dies there. Seeing this, Martin and the warden both get scared badly. But the warden uses the iron block to punish Ricky. It was the same heavy iron that was set inside the cell and slowly came down and crushed the prisoner completely. When Ricky is tied up in it, the block slowly starts pressing him. Although Ricky stops him with all his strength, but then the warden starts giving electric shock there. For this reason, it is not possible to hold the block for Ricky and he falls to the ground. But then it is seen that Tyne is still alive. He was asking for help from Martin. But Martin says, "What is the use of saving a loser like you? Because you have already lost to Ricky. Now I don't need you." There, Ricky somehow breaks the door of the cell and comes out. And immediately crying that iron block, he tells Tyne to get out soon. But Tyne's body did not have the strength to move now. Seeing this, the same block crushes him in front of everyone and he dies there. But before dying, a picture flies from Tyne. Ricky sees that this picture is of Tyne and his mother. Then Ricky shows that picture to Martin and says, "Are you a human? Here is the family of every prisoner. Their family is always waiting for them to return. But you use them in a dirty way and take their lives. Human life is so useless for you." But the warden does not care about Ricky's words. He puts Ricky in a new trap and tells Martin to bring all the prisoners to the field. Here it is seen that the warden has put Ricky in a pit and all the prisoners are standing around him. Then the warden comes and tells the prisoners to bury Ricky alive by crushing him with soil. But two prisoners refuse to do this because they loved Ricky. The warden kills both of them there.